Hello, guys. Blessed be. Good morning. It is High Priestess Jamila, and I have been up working, but I am gonna go to sleep in a minute. But y'all were on my mind, and I thought I would come and talk to some of y'all that are having family issues and dysfunction, and how witchcraft can help with that. Just a reminder, if you could please subscribe to the new channel, The Witch's Broom. I wanted to put this up on this channel and then it'll be a repeat. I'll upload this one to that channel as well. But I thought I would go live on my main channel just to speak about how witchcraft can help with family problems and dysfunction. Okay. I want to start this off by saying that whenever people think of witchcraft, they always think of something negative and bad. People don't realize that there are actually more good things that you can get out of it than bad. And I think that it just depends on, where your psyche is, what is your knowledge of it, and what you take away from it, or how you take it. So witchcraft is not just about curses. We talk about curses a lot, but really the truth of the matter is that a lot of you guys that either have generational curses or either dysfunctional family members, a lot of you guys suffer from depression, acceptance, and you also suffer from, when I say accepting it, it's when you sort of surrender yourself to the problems and not the solutions, not what you can do about it, because, it's so normalized, a lot of the dysfunctions that are in your clan, that are in you guys' clan, it's normalized a lot by a lot of people. It'll become normalized, and it's hard. It's really difficult because it's almost like you'll feel as though they're trying to shove that dysfunction down your throat. And I believe wholeheartedly that, all of the zombie movies that you see, and the zombie movies are basically, in my humble opinion, even though they've gotten kind of scientific about it, I believe that the zombie movies are all about spiritual possession. And a lot of the dysfunctional, troublemaking, nosy, diabolical family members in your family, they are very much possessed, to the point where a lot of the things that they do, they can't really acknowledge it. When you're under possession, you don't even remember what you do. So a lot of the stuff that they do, they don't even remember sometimes. And it sucks. My heart goes out to you guys, and my doors are open to you guys that are having those family problems. Um, I know a lot of you guys wish that the only problem that you had was a routine haunting. That would be easy, but no, that's not what it is. And witchcraft can be very useful in a sense of defense, psychic defense. You know, for those of you that come from sort of like, what's the word I can use for this? Like a gang stalking type of family, a cult like family. It's kind of reminds you of that. And what makes it a cult like family is not everybody usually, but it can be several members or, you know, maybe even three or four. Okay. And so psychic defense and protecting yourself from negative energies is one way that witchcraft can help. Now, some of y'all got witches in your family. Some of y'all have family members that will go to witches to put curses on you. Um, and then that opens up a whole host of problems because people can behave very corrupt. And so there's curse reversals, there's uncrossings, there's curse breakers that you can do. Then there is when you go a lot deeper and you look at necromancy and things of that nature, um, which protects you from bad spirits. Um, I forget what I was going to say about that. But there's protection, okay? Um, and then there is also money workings that you can do. Typically, people that come from dysfunctional families tend to have a lot of money problems. It comes with the territory, and it is because the chaos is never put into perspective. Okay, all of that chaos. It's especially with this generation. I think it's interesting when you look at the different generations, the baby boomers, Generation X, Generation Z. You can find some clues as far as that is concerned and how you're going to end up with the clash of the titans. Okay, so people are going to be clashing. And of course, people like to continue traditions, but not all traditions are good. And when you are not surrendering to that dysfunction, you become the black sheep. You become the oddball out. You become the hated one. You become, you know, the person that everybody's talking about, and everybody has loose lips, and everybody is negative, and they're just negative, negative, negative about you, to the point where you're being stigmatized, to the point where, you know, a lot of you guys end up having to relocate out of your hometown or where your family is condensed, you know, where there's a whole bunch of them. Um, and even with that, doesn't always solve the problem because it can follow you. You know, they can follow you. and they feel entitled. And the reason why they feel entitled is because they feel like one for all for one. If we got to suffer, then everybody else in the family has to suffer too. So you almost are it's like being in chains and being chained to people that refuse to change and refuse to grow, and they refuse to transmute that energy, especially if you are dealing with elders, if you're dealing with people that are set in their ways. And age really matters to a lot of people. But we was from the generation of age ain't nothing but a number. All of the Generation X people, okay, we came from that era. So, you know, so witchcraft can help with, breaking you away from that chain gang of dysfunction, you know? And then, of course, the money workings definitely help, but then healing helps. You'd be surprised at how powerful doing healing work can be. Because when people think about healing work, they think about healing from physical trauma or either diseases. But healing can be healing for the spirit, because your spirit is bruised and wounded. Okay, to the point where mm-mm-mm. I strongly believe that that C code thing, the Toyota Corolla, I feel like it's a byproduct of that. And when you have hope in a world, or if you have positive thinking in a world where everybody is depressed, because some people, it depends on their reaction to sad situations and loss and grief. And there's a lot of people that will go to such a dark place of depression that they can't get out of it. They can't see the sunshine and they are just lost. Um, and a lot of them won't accept any healing. And I'm going to tell you why. Many of them are way too curious about what's on the other side. A lot of them don't care about dying or being killed. They they don't really care about life. So that's why they take their lives for granted and then everybody else's. And they sort of lose hope for the younger generations. I've actually sat around families who are totally under possession just by depression. And you'll hear them say that, these kids are, boy, they not going to prosper. There used to be a huge thing about like the baby boomers were really, 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 they were negative about Generation X's music. And even the R&B, not just the rap, but the R&B. Oh, that ain't real music, just real negative and judgmental. You know what I'm saying? And it just wasn't a very positive environment. You were probably not being encouraged to better yourself, but rather you were told something else about the world through the eyes of somebody that is probably given up or maybe had a negative experience in the world, and they need to project that to you. Okay. I remember I had an uncle. Well, I have an uncle still. He's still alive. But I have an uncle that used to always tell me, and this was his wisdom. He would tell me 90% of the world is assholes. He would tell me that. And the older I got, I realized that it was a lie because 90% of the world is not assholes. That's not true. And I think that while that may have possibly been his experience, or maybe he was trying to program me to be afraid of the world, that's probably what it was. But I found that out to not be true. But I think if you're looking at the world like that, then that's what you're going to manifest. Okay. So we take in that advice during a time when they are partying with us and being nice to us. And it goes in the back of the subconscious where you store it, where all of your fears go. So those kind of subconscious blockages can possibly not me, but it can lead a person to having a limited view of the world. And witchcraft can help you with that. Because what it does is it opens you up to basically quantum physics, science, nature, the unknown, you know, forbidden knowledge, to where you'll be thinking, wow, I had no idea that I could create my own experiences through my vision of the world. And there used to be a time, or either there are families, where you don't hear things like that. You hear them saying to the younger generation that the world is your oyster. You can go out and you can do whatever you want to do in it. So that's the way that I see it. So witchcraft can provide you healing of the mind, because when you limit the mind and you fill the mind of children that are young and impressionable, when you fill them up with constant negativity, causes damage to the brain. That's a form of brain damage. Okay, so the brain can be healed, such as any other part of the body. When you look at the world and all of, like, I'm pretty sure that there are unexplained phenomenon about people growing back limbs and stuff like that, you know. And then I don't know if y'all heard about what happened like 24 hours ago in Nevada, I think it was, where this family made a quote unquote claim that they saw a spaceship, the UFO, and that they actually saw aliens. And it was actually on the news. There was a 911 call, and apparently the police didn't take it seriously. And so, but who knows if they're telling the truth? I didn't do a reading on it. I got enough on my mind, you know. Witchcraft can definitely help you. In fact, 9 times out of 10, if you've been blacklisted, barred, banned, shunned by your family, there's a whole family for you out there. More than likely, you're probably a witch. Okay, you may have been displaying your spiritual gifts from a young child, like Matilda, and they were scared of you, so they had to talk you out of believing in your own power. So you never know. They may have babysat you and stuff started moving around every time they babysat you. You never know. So it's difficult being a spiritually gifted person in this world because there's so many people that want to take advantage. So a lot of you won't experience this, but so many of you have. I've spoken to you, and a lot of y'all have felt as though the first spiritual family that you thought you may have had, or either spiritual person that you thought could be a guide or encouragement, ended up mirroring your family. So, this is the reason why it is important to keep your mind open and continue to seek out what you want and not allow anybody to throw you off of your path by putting up blinders on up, or either other obstacles. And you don't necessarily have to be a witch to do that, but rather there are a lot of witches out there, myself included, that will guide you. Okay. So I just wanted to come and say that to you guys real quick. I hope y'all have a happy Tuesday. I've got a couple of people, quite a few people asking about my apprenticeship program. And I'm only starting out with 3 apprentices. I can't handle any more than that. And it might only be 2. It might only be 2, to be honest with you, because that's a lot of responsibility, along with the spiritual work that is a constant. It is a constant. And so, you know, you'll make it. It's depressing. It's absolutely depressing. It really is. But you have to look at the world. You know what I always tell people? I always tell people to look at maps and globes. Globes are so powerful. You know, globes that spin around, they are so powerful. Just gazing at a globe, it helps put things into perspective when you realize there's a whole world out there, right? Or when you look up at the horizon, so much space and time for you. So just thinking about that is very healing. And if you don't feel accepted by your family, you just have to be strong, especially if you got them babies, them kids. They counting on you. You know, if it's just you, it's the same thing. Your inner child is counting on you. Um, Other children of the world are counting on you. Even adults may need you to be straight. I know that I don't like to see people suffering. I don't. Although I've said that before, I like to see people get their karma sometimes for the things that they've done, but just to, I don't want to be, if I do see people suffering, I don't want them necessarily around me because if somebody's suffering, I'm going to try to do something to help them. That's just how I am. Um, but it's real easy to get trained and programmed to feel like there's no way out, but there is. Okay. All right, y'all. I'm sleepy. I have been up working and doing all sorts of things, so I'm going to get a couple of hours of shut eye, and I will catch y'all later. Make sure y'all sub to the Witch's Broom channel. All right, guys. Bye.